Summary of Tracks by Louise Erdrich. An older member of the Anishinaabe group, named Nanapush, talks to his granddaughter Lulu. He tells her about her mother's life and why her mother sent her to boarding school. He gives some background by saying that when he met her mother, Pillager, the Indians were dying of hunger and the government was trying to take over the Anishinaabe land. In the story, all of Nanapush's relatives have died. The Pillager family is thought to have died in their cabin on Lake Machimanito, but when Nanapush and a police officer go to seal the cabin, they find young Fleur inside who is barely alive. Nanapush takes Fleur back to his house, where they both cry over the deaths of their families and become weak. One day, a young priest from town named Father Damien shows up and tells them that another Pillager, Moses Pillager, has been found on an island by himself in the woods. He seems to have turned half Wendigo, or into a monster, in an effort to stay alive. While they feed the priest and talk to him, Fleur and Nanapush welcome him. Once more, Nanapush asks Fleur to stay with him in her cabin. But Fleur says she needs to go back to her own cabin to protect her land. Pauline Poyet says that she left her father on the tribe to live in the town of Argus, even though her father didn't want her to, so she could be more open to modern ways. Her Aunt Regina, her young cousin Russell, and Pauline's friend Dutch James, who works at the butcher shop, live with her. When Pauline starts doing odd jobs at the butcher shop, Fleur has also come to town to work there. Pauline is interested in Fleur and is closely watching her, but most people around her can't see her. She sees Fleur win exactly $1 every night at card games with the guys who work at the butcher shop over the course of a few nights. The men are skeptical that she could win the same amount every time, so they get angry and attack her, raping her in a barn behind the shop. Pauline sees the attack happen, but she doesn't do anything to stop it. Soon after Fleur leaves town, a storm smashes the shop, but the only men hurt are the ones who hurt Fleur. Their bodies were found frozen in the meat locker. The storm is thought to have been caused by Fleur, but Pauline says it was she who locked the freezer door. It is found out that Dutch James is still alive. When Fleur has a baby, everyone in town starts to guess who the father might be. Nanapush talks about how when Fleur goes back to the tribe, people wonder how she made the money to pay her land fees. A young guy named Eli asks Nanapush for help on how to get Fleur to like him. His mother, Margaret, is embarrassed when a paid spy tells her about their public kiss in the woods. Nanapush takes Margaret to Fleur's cabin to make sure she is really pregnant. But Margaret isn't sure that Eli is the father and not the lake monster or one of the butcher shop workers. A bear who is drunk on reserve wine comes into Fleur's hut and gives birth to a girl. Nanapush tells the priest that the baby's name is Lulu Nanapush. He names her after his late daughter and keeps his name even though he doesn't have any children anymore. Pauline doesn't like living with Regina and Dutch. When Dutch gets frostbite in the meat locker, her aunt takes care of him and heals him. She goes to the Morrissey farm to ask Bernadette to move in with them after telling her that she was beaten in her last home. Pauline learns from Bernadette how to care for the sick and get the dead ready for burial. She goes to the Pillager cabin to see if Eli and Fleur are interested in her, but they don't pay much attention to her. Bernadette's brother Napoleon approaches her while he's drunk, but she turns him down. Because she doesn't like how much Eli loves Fleur, she goes to Moses Pillager to get a love potion that might make Eli fall in love with Sophie, one of Bernadette's children. In the end, Pauline gives in to Napoleon's approaches. Every day, Eli works on the Morrissey farm. The medicine slowly starts to work on him, and he and Sophie have sex in the water next to the farm. They are found out, and Eli runs off to hide in the trees. Sophie, on the other hand, is possessed by a spell that Fleur put on her and is lying on the ground outside the Pillager house. Sophie Morrissey's brother, Clarence, steals a figure of the Virgin Mary from the church to shine it on Sophie and break the spell. Pauline then has a vision in which the Virgin Mary cries. Pauline tries to keep her frozen tears, but they melt in her bags, leaving her with no proof. Nanapush takes Eli in for a while until he learns from Nanapush how to humble himself to win Fleur back. Margaret and Nanapush find that they get along well. Clarence and boy Lazar catch them one night on their way home from church. The two men cut off Margaret's braids to make her look bad, just like Eli, her son, did to their sister. After this, Fleur shaves her head to show her support and puts a spell on boy Lazar, which kills him quickly. Nectar, Margaret's younger son, and Nanapush set a trap to kill Clarence. But Nanapush and Nectar are kind to him, and he escapes the trap. Bernadette tries to talk Pauline out of having an abortion when she finds out she is pregnant with Napoleon's child. While giving birth, Pauline thinks she doesn't want to let go of the baby and that it would be best for them both to die. But Bernadette pulls the baby out and names her Marie. Pauline moves into the convent and starts seeing Jesus at night. She also thinks of strange ways to punish herself in the name of the Lord. She makes it her goal to go to the Pillager cabin and try to change them, but they either don't listen to her or laugh at the weird way she criticizes herself. Fleur gets pregnant again, but this time the baby's father is unknown because Eli thinks the lake monster might have fathered it. Fleur starts giving birth to the baby too soon, and Pauline can't stop her. While Fleur and Pauline go to the land of the dead, Lulu runs to get help. There, Fleur risks not only the baby's life but also Lulu's, who she learns is also in danger. She saves Lulu's life, but not the baby's. Margaret and Nanapush find Lulu cold in the snow, and Nanapush takes care of her and makes her better. The people who live in the Pillager house are hungry and have heard that they owe a lot of money in land taxes. Fleur's mind and body seem weak, and she seems too attached to Lulu after her baby died. Nanapush asks Moses Pillager to hold a ritual to help her get better. At the mending ritual, Pauline also shows up and badly burns her hands while trying to show that Christianity is better than the old native ways. The family finally has enough money to pay off the taxes on the Cashpaw and Pillager land. Father Damien gives them the last quarter of the money, and Nectar and Margaret take it to town to pay the agent. When Pauline goes back to the order, Sister Saint and takes care of her and makes her better. She plans to go back to Machimanito one more time. This time, she will spend 40 days and nights on a boat in the middle of the lake, waiting for the devil to show up as the lake monster. When she finally makes it to land the next day, she kills what she thinks is the lake monster with her rosary, but then she realizes she killed Napoleon. She pulls him into the woods and then goes back to the church. She does what she says, changes her name to Sister Leopolda, and is sent to teach math at a Catholic school in Argus. When Nanapush goes to see the agent, he learns that Margaret and Nectar only had enough money to pay off one of the allotments plus the late fee. They paid for the Cashpaw land instead of the Pillager land without telling anyone else. When Eli wants to live with Fleur on the Cashpaw land, he asks her to marry him, but she says no. Eli says he will work hard to make enough money to buy back some of her land. Napoleon's body has been found, and Fleur is thought to have killed him. Lulu is sent to school to keep her safe from all the dangers on the tribe. Eli, who has taken a job with the lumber company, and the other men tell Fleur she has to leave their land. But Fleur cuts down many of the trees around them and then goes south to town by herself. Nanapush gets involved with politics to try to get Lulu back for himself, and he and Margaret are able to get Lulu from her boarding school in the end.
About the author. Erdrich was born on June 7, 1954, in Little Falls, Minnesota. According to Erdrich, his grandfather was the leader of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. Erdrich got into Dartmouth as one of the first women, and she earned a degree in English there in 1976. After 2 years, she went to Johns Hopkins University to get an MA in the writing seminars. She and Michael Doris won the Nelson Algren Fiction Prize for a story that they turned into the book Love Medicine after they got married in 1981. They raised 6 kids together, 3 of them were adopted. They split up in 1995, and Doris killed herself in 1997. Erdrich's books are all set on the same tribe or in nearby towns, but they are all connected in complicated ways. She won 2 National Book Critics Circle Awards, a National Book Award, and a Library of Congress Prize for American Fiction for these books. They were also finalists for the Pulitzer Prize. She lives in Minnesota.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.